Hello, everyone, and welcome back to, welcome to the 1 year anniversary of This is Learning, and welcome back to another episode of This is Tech Talks. I believe it's also the 1 year anniversary of This is Tech Talks. Are we joining the two of them? Yeah, we are. So This is Learning and This is Tech Talks is 1 year old today. Congrats to the parents of This is Learning, Santosh and Lars. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. I mean, we had this celebration, this Rakhi, which we celebrate every year. So yeah, I mean, this time I'm in a new country, so my sisters actually sent it via post, and then I got it tied from my friend's wife. So yeah.
Nice. Let's see it. Nice. Lars, how are you?
I'm ready to celebrate. Been looking forward to this for a long time. So yeah, I look forward to walk the the memory lane.
Take a walk down memory lane. Yeah. Great. Awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you for helping me get involved in this. I'm really glad to be here hosting this anniversary episode with you guys. And thank you everyone that's here for coming to join us and celebrating along with us.
Yeah, I mean, just wanted to add, I mean, so a lot of credit goes to you, Jay. Actually, you have been learning this from a very long time. I mean, there was a point where I was not there, Lars was not there, and then you were doing it. So thanks a lot for actually keep it running.
No worries. I really enjoyed it. This was my first really big foray into streaming, so it was good. And now I'm doing it on my own too, which is awesome. So I have you guys to thank for that.
Yeah, congratulations. Great. And thank you for helping. Like, we're super happy and I'm very proud.
Thank you.
Of The Apprentice.
Well, hopefully after this episode I graduate.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so for some people that may not actually have joined one of our previous episodes, what is This is Learning and This is Tech Talks? If you guys want to give a little brief overview? Maybe they've seen all of the marketing for this episode, but actually haven't been able to join one of the other ones yet.
Right, Les.
Well, what is it? Well, in short, what we aim to do is provide platforms for public tech contributors to contribute to various efforts. And over time, it grows to more and more projects. And This is Tech Talks is our live talk show that's been running for a year now. And that's an example of something you can get involved in. Like, we're welcoming everyone that wants to take the opportunity to write blog posts, practice tech talks like speaking, doing open source, and various other things, or maybe becoming a host or a panelist on a show like this, or writing a newsletter, or doing graphical design, or designing a website. Like, we have so many things, and the more people that are interested in these things, the more we will do.
Great. So how did it come about? What are we celebrating? Why are we celebrating? How did the celebration come about?
We're actually celebrating 3 1-year anniversaries at the same time, because This is Learning was technically founded in November a year and a half ago, or something like that. Started out as a couple of blogs on dev community, and 1 month in, the second writer joined, and now we have, I have no idea, like 60 writers or so, and everyone's welcome. So it's been a little more than a year of that, but we haven't celebrated that, and there's 2 more reasons, very good reasons for celebrating, and it is around the time of the actual anniversary of that, and that is this show, This is Tech Talks, is 1 year old now, and it's also 1 year since Santosh joined as a co-founder of This is Learning, our this whole thing, our nonprofit, whatever we spend all our time doing, open learning contributions and talk shows and newsletters and blog posts, all of these good things. Like it's been 1 year of our non-business partnership, and that's worth celebrating.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congrats to you too. Like I said before, that what you put together here is pretty awesome. And I don't know for certain, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that are getting into the industry or, coming up from being a junior or whatever it might be, that have learned a lot from the structure and framework that you guys have put in place. So piggybacking off of that a little bit, because we've talked about this a little bit already, but like, what are you two most proud of for, or surrounding This Is Learning? You could pick one thing. If it was one thing, what is the thing that you're most proud of that This Is Learning, This Is Tech Talks, or whatever else has done or caused for?
Santosh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, there are a lot of things, but I think one specific thing which I will say is when we actually onboard the new writers and they get really excited about, okay, we are going to write for This Is Learning and then becoming part of the community. And then they actually get more involved in writing, right? So I have seen some people who were not that much writing before, but now they are constantly writing for This Is Learning. And that brings happiness. I mean, yeah, someone is actually doing some great work now.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. That's awesome.
And me, well, I'm just happy about the continued interest in our common collaboration here. Like that, it's nothing, or it's not very much without more people joining. Like then, in the beginning, it was just me, and Santosh started his own community, so we're doing our separate things with a little more than just ourselves creating content. So joining forces, joining the communities, more and more people getting involved, and like you will do something for a while, and then you'll do something else. So sometimes you're writing and publishing, other times you're doing open source, or you're busy with other things, and we get that. Like there's no strings attached here. There's no requirements for how much or how frequently you contribute anything on our platforms. So we're always happy to welcome you. And the community of contributors is driven through a private Discord server of the public tech contributors. It's private only in that you need an invitation to join, but anyone is able to join. There's no interviewing process. There's no limitations on candidacy or anything like that. It's just a matter of it's a small group where like-minded people are discussing these things from time to time. So it's I think we're a couple of hundred people, not all very active all the time, but we have a lot of good discussions about our common interests.
Totally. Yeah, I just looked. There's almost 300 in the public one, and there's, I believe, about 150 in the contributors Discord. So that's a pretty good community for a year, for sure.
That's what I'm happy about. Like people who want to take this opportunity or are interested in what we're doing. And well, the name is there for a reason. It's about learning in public, sharing what we learn. It's more about your journey as a content creator or tech contributor of any kind, and less about the overall community around it. That's more of a side effect of you getting better at what you do. The more people you will be exposed to, and our platforms will give you more discoverability and more exposure through all our different channels. So it's about our journey as content creators and tech contributors. That's what this community is really about.
And mentors for other people that want to be content creators or want to be tech writers or just want to be programmers, right? That want to figure out this world that we engulf ourselves in every day.
Yeah, I mean, to join the private Discord community, you have to want to be involved in public tech contributions. That's the only kind of requirement, that you have an interest in. You don't necessarily need to have experience doing it. Maybe just want to learn about it and try it out. Well, then you're more than welcome. And as you mentioned, we have a public Discord server as well, where anyone can join.
Mhm.
And it's not about, you don't have to be or have interest in being a public tech contributor.
Yeah, and to put that in perspective, when I joined the contributors, the private one, the Discord server, I wasn't a content creator really back then. I did a little bit of open source work here and there. I don't think I was an Angular GDE yet at that point. I definitely wasn't streaming at that point. I still remember joining one of the first streams, and I think it was with Lars. I joined one of my first ones, and I helped out there. And then, yeah, so you really, like when Lars says you don't need to be, an expert in this stuff, you really don't need to be an expert, because I wasn't. And look at where we're at now.
Yeah, I mean, everyone starts at some point, right? I mean, I started like 2 years ago, my first stream, and the last was actually guest for my first show.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was you had the show called Tech Talks with Santosh, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, I was probably the most frequent guest on that show,
Yeah.
and I was even the guest host on one or two occasions.
Yeah, that was an awesome show. I remember watching it back when you were doing that before This Is Learning really got going. And I'm really glad that you guys decided to combine your brain power to help others together, right? Because, open source is all about working
collaboration.
together. Collaboration is the word I was looking for. Thank you, Santosh. So it's really awesome to see what collaboration can bring about, right?
Yeah, I was very how do you say that, impressed by Santosh doing a whole year on his own every week, probably more than one time per week on average, for a whole year. But it also took its toll on you, Santosh. After a year,
Yeah, exactly.
you were like, it was a huge effort. And that's where, like you say, the power of collaboration. And it's the same on an open source team or any team for that matter, that we have each other's back. So maybe one day you have something unscheduled that comes up, and then we'll step in. And another time it's Jay that can't make it, and then I'll step in, or whatever. Like we're three people or four, or we had a few other people involved, and we have what's his name, Deep. Has also started hosting on his own, right? And that's the most popular episode ever of this show. His first time hosting.
Like by far none. It's crazy. He has like thousands of views.
So thank you, Deep, as well.
Yeah.
You've also been involved in behind the scenes stuff with this show, and like that's just such a joy to have people who have. I hope that you're all, like you say, you're learning something, you're growing as a person, as a content creator or tech contributor, whatever your goal is, that you're gaining something from having these platforms available and being able to seize these opportunities to grow yourself, to learn.
Yeah, totally. So what I know you mentioned it right at the start a little bit about call them the three heads of the Hydra, right? The different projects that This Is Learning is working on. Do you want to delve a little bit more into what each of those projects are and what they're more focused on?
What is this?
Either one of you.
Yeah.
Oh, what we're doing, each of us, or
Or yeah, like what are the projects? So like we're doing This is Tech Talks currently, right? But then there's also This is Learning, right? The Dev.2, This is Learning, and then what's the third one? Is it This is
This is
Anchor?
Angular.
That's
Yeah, and we have there are a few more things I think as well. Right? So
great. Yeah, let's hear what all the awesome things This is Learning is doing. What do the listeners need to know about what we're doing here?
Well, Santosh, what do you feel you're most involved in the This is Learning community?
I think recently I've been involved in adding more writers. That's what I've been doing. So you both are active on the Discord, and you might have seen last 1 month a lot of writers got added. So I'm just looking at the community, what people are doing, because I know there are a lot of amazing writers, who are writing actually contents, and they need visibility. I've seen some content authors actually getting some visibility after they started posting with This is Learning, and uh, that's what I've been mostly doing right now. But I want to actually get back to doing this live streams again.
Nice. How is the writer searching out been going? You said that there's been some joining. Like, is the number joining increasing over time? Are more people getting involved in This is Learning?
Yes, it is. Actually, even the numbers, like last month, I think we reached 100K views in a month, which is, of course, I mean, I'm sure it's a big number. And we are closing on, I think, 100K views from the time we started This is Learning. So
Awesome.
some amazing numbers
on
in
one
last
of the
month.
blogs. Yeah,
Sorry?
I think we have passed 250,000 views on our dev community publications, the two
Yeah.
of them.
If you combine both.
Yeah,
Mhm.
across all articles and stuff like that.
Yep. Yep.
I don't really know much about metrics, but that number seems impressive.
I mean, it's a number. You know, as long as it's still going, I'm happy. Like I don't put too much value into those numbers.
Fair. Yeah.
I've had better numbers on other
Mhm.
platforms, but
Um,
I like this platform. Like this,
yeah.
these blogs, these publications on dev community, that This is Learning and This is Angular publications. I started them specifically to invite people of all skill levels, and so that you can publish what you want when you want. There's no requirements for what you're writing about, except it should be related to software or careers in tech or something like that. But there's no requirement on how good you are at spelling or expressing yourself, or the length of it, or the skill level of the topics, and so on. It's for everyone. So if you're writing your first blog post, this is the publication for you. If you're writing your number 500, it's still a good place, because being part of a publication on dev community gives you more exposure, because more people are following, and we are featuring articles in our newsletter. We're tweeting about it on our Twitter accounts. We're I don't remember if we have more channels. Well, we have the Discords as well, but we're not really using them as much for sharing the content. I guess we could do some automation with that as well. Right now we have the Twitter feeds automated, thanks to Wycliffe Mina, who helped set up the GitHub Actions workflows for that. That's really, really awesome. So it's based off on our RSS feeds on the dev community blogs. So you get more exposure that way. You get more shares on Twitter automatically. So it's just the network effect of being part of something more than just yourself, your own profile.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's not about competition, right? Like the view numbers don't really mean we're better than I don't even know one of the other communities. I don't even know what the communities are online, right? It's really just about how much reach we're getting, and how, like, in my mind, the higher number doesn't mean we're more successful in terms of competition. We're more successful in the fact that we've reached more people to help them learn, right? And maybe someone that's learning to do this is learning by helping other people. And that's really what it's all about at the end of the day.
Like I enjoy whenever I see someone writing some of their first post and choosing our blogs to share them on. And I'm happy when someone like Ryan Carniato, the creator of Solid, has found his own voice and improved his writing over the past few years through our publication and the support of our peers in our private community.
Yep, makes sense. That's awesome. I really I wish that I was more involved in the Discord community just to connect like in real time with some of the other content creators and the contributors and stuff there. So I definitely want to try and do that. It's just hard because there's like, I'm looking at my Discord right now. I have like 18 Discord servers, and then I have like 9 different Slack workspaces. It's so hard to keep up with everything.
Yeah,
I know you are pretty busy with the NX Slack which you handle, so no pressure. So
Yeah, and we're approaching 5,600 people in there now, which is wild. So I'm not even as active there anymore, right? Just because there's so much to do, and I've started streaming, and because of This Is Learning and everything, right? So definitely prioritization really comes into play. So where or who or what would someone do to get involved? Like if they wanted to write an article, if they wanted to come on as a guest, like what's the first step? What do they do? Where do they go?
I mean, it's open for everyone, as we have already, stated multiple times that if you want to get involved in any way possible, just DM us and we will get you onboarded on our private Slack. So I think this is how we reached out to Samarth, who he's helping with all the banners and everything. So he said, no, I cannot write, but I would like to help with other assets and everything. So he is doing that. I mean, again, there is no pressure, right? And you don't have to do it. This is just voluntarily, and if you're not available, no issue. And again, so even Vijay, who helps us with scheduling the stream, so he is now been busy from last few months, so I'm doing it. So it's like there is no time which you have to put in. So whenever we are available, I think Lars already added this point before. So whenever you have free time, just do whatever you love to do. I mean, it's not like someone is getting paid here, so everyone is trying to put their own time towards the community, and that's what we need. So if you want to even like do streaming for us, as you started, right, Ajay, so you can join us. Or if you want to be guest, I mean, we also reach out. Generally, this is what I do. I mean, I generally don't tweet every week. There are a few guests which I already know. Okay, this is the person I want to reach out to, and I reach out to that person, and then we schedule the stream. So for next week, we are going to have. Who is there for next week? I have not scheduled it. Okay, so yeah, but for next week there will be another guest. So yeah.
Great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know I personally have learned so much from all the different guests that we've had on. A lot of them have been such wonderful people to chat with, and just like it feels easy. So I definitely suggest anybody that wants to get involved, and like even if it's just to meet and learn from people that you would never have had the chance to meet before, like do it. DM Santosh or Lars, or tweet at them if that's your thing. If you like to tweet, right? Yeah, or me, reach out to me, and then I can figure out how to get you involved when that comes around. But yeah, there's definitely lots of opportunity, and we want the community to keep growing. So by no means, when we say that we have, whatever it was, 50 contributors, or whatever, on the dev.to community, like we don't want to stop there, right? The more the better, the more the merrier, really, at the end of the day. Because there's so much tech out there for everybody to learn and be interested in. It's never going to get saturated in terms of content. Yeah. Lars and Santos, is there anything that you would like to mention specifically about This Is Learning, or This Is Tech Talks, or any of the communities, or anything like that?
Well, I see that we got a comment here from Chris. So thank you very much for that, Chris. And I'd like to, like anyone watching, feel free to ask your questions or send comments in the chat. And Jay will stay on top of asking those questions, forwarding them to Santosh, to me, or even to Jay.
Yep. By all means, send your questions along. I'll ask them if they make it before the end of the stream. Yeah.
Something I was to talk about. Well, I originally founded this organization, this nonprofit, with two core values in mind.
Okay.
Well, three actually. One of them we already discussed, and that's the openness. Like everyone's welcome as long as you're actually interested in the stuff we're doing here. That's the only requirement. The second thing is I want to keep This Is Learning free from conflict of interest. That's very important to me. I don't want it to become a business. We've built all these opportunities on top of free or cheap platforms, and we're not generating any money at all. And that's why no one is getting paid, like you said, Santosh. So whatever little cost we have, we're covering from our own pocket, but it's not a lot. Like we're staying lean intentionally, because we want that's the third value, is everything should be for free.
Totally. Exactly. And that's, as Laura said, I remember there was a conversation we had, God, it was a long time ago now, about not taking sponsorship money and stuff like that for the community, right? Because we want to remain, unbiased. We don't want to be held to some certain, requirements by people that hold some financial grip over the community, right? So we definitely do try to take advantage. Like dev.to is a great example of this, right? Like we can just post there, right? That's the whole point of it. We just post. All of our contributors post there. Anybody's just welcome to join. So great example of leveraging tools like that to keep our mission aligned with what we originally started out as.
It's not like people point out that it's not the best experience. Like it's not the most beautiful website or blog on the planet, dev2. But it's free. It's free from conflict of interest. It's open to anyone, and there's enough people on there that your content will be seen. So yeah, it's been a great platform for what we wanted to do with this community.
Yeah, and honestly, like from my point of view, I don't know how you guys feel. Like I don't need my technical blogs to look pretty, right? Like if they're readable, I think that's really all that matters at the end of the day. So some people might take that as a strike against dev.to, but I don't. I personally think simpler is better. So it's a great tool.
Yeah, they're not restricting you, right? Not asking for money. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's even worse on my screen because I'm using another great feature by Dev Community. I'm using the dyslexia web font for dyslexics. So if you were to read it on my screen, it would look even uglier, and to you or to some people more unreadable or less readable, right? But to me,
I didn't even know that was
a big improvement.
Huh. Crazy. I didn't even know that there was web fonts for dyslexia. I guess it makes sense now that if you think about it, but
there is, and you can choose it. You can choose the dark theme, the light theme, and then a font on Dev Community, and the dyslexia font is one of them. So
cool.
If you're not the world's greatest reader, try that one out. Like it helps your eyes focus in a different way. It's helped me out a lot with reading.
I'm gonna try it out just to see what it looks like. to be honest. I'm so curious now.
Additionally, the dev community has been very supportive of our publication. They have featured many of our posts from many different writers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm very appreciative of what they're doing, and they're also an open source platform. So what they do is pretty much in line with what we're doing. Like they also have a business, right? But that's a different part, a parallel to the dev community platform, where there's a paid product version of Forum, the
Right.
open source platform running dev community, and
Mhm.
they are a business with people, with employees that are paid and so on. So, but they're really supportive of the developer community.
Yeah, that's great. I personally love using tools that are built for developers, obviously by developers, right? But realize that open source is the way to go about building in public and supporting the dev community and stuff like that, and they embrace it, right? Because for a long time there, that wasn't the case, unless you look at like the olden days of like IRC nodes and stuff like that, right? But yeah, it's great that they're so supportive of us, and I'm sure they're just as supportive for other communities as well that are focused on open source or just community in general, kind of thing, right?
That's my impression.
Yeah, totally. Here's our newsletter if anybody wants to join. Lots of awesome stuff in there. Who writes up the newsletter?
Deep has taken over it, and he has not missed even a single edition. So he started around September, I think, last year, and it's a bi-weekly newsletter. So he keeps writing every 2 weeks, and I'm really surprised with like kind of dedication he has, because of course everyone has something in their life, and still he does that. So hats off to him.
Totally. Yeah, that's awesome. Does it focus dev.to articles, or like what's all included in the newsletter?
So yeah, we chose a different format. So we of course have our this is Tech Talk show. So we have videos link, and then some of our, of course, the blogs from This is Learning and This is Angular, and then we have chosen another section where we actually take the tweets from the community, which is of course has some value, some knowledge, and that's what makes the newsletter.
Well, there's also a section for our open learning projects, and that's something I consider quite valuable and unique to our community, is that in addition to open source projects, we also have what I call open learning projects. We have 3 right now, and the first one was the RxJS fundamentals course, which was something I was working on with several other community members on a different platform. But then Max Koretsky was kind enough to give us the permissions to use it, rather than it just being vaporware locked in an archive on the internet somewhere. So now you have a free text-based course for learning RxJS. It's a mixture of the fundamentals, as it's called, but there's also some intermediate content there as well, written by 8 to 10 different authors, and it's open source, so it's free learning content, and it's open to be edited. There's an edit link on every page, and that opens up a pull request on GitHub to that public repo.
That's amazing. Yeah, one of my team members was actually looking for an RxJS course. So I'm going to pass this along, because I remember when it came out, but I completely forgot about it. I completely forgot it existed.
Well, it's in every newsletter, and it's on our website, right?
Yeah.
And the second one was donated by Armin Vadanyan, one of our nice community members as well. That's an NGRX Essentials course, and that focuses on NGRX store and effects, and it's a great course. there's lots of contributions to be made. Like there's improvements to be done on both of these. So whenever you see something you could improve, don't hold back. Like open an issue, open a pull request. We'll help you in whichever way you want to contribute.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm sure these courses have been super helpful for some people. ArcsJS and NGRX ArcsJS is one of the more complex things to wrap your head around when you've never used it before. So we appreciate, the community appreciates that being out there open for everyone to use, for sure.
The third open learning project we have is that this is Angular Guides. So that's an open source Angular guide website. And that it was the same thing, but it's something we started on another platform, and then I got the permissions from Max Koretsky to turn it into something and open sourcing it. Like these courses are licensed using the Creative Commons licenses, so they are restrictive licenses. So if you can copy them, you can clone them, but you have to use the same license.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So they are really as open as can be in that way.
Totally. Yeah, that's awesome. I shared these in the chat, so if anybody wants to see those courses, the Angular Guides, NGRX Fundamentals, and ArcGIS Fundamentals, all the links are there, or you can find them in the newsletter, also on the website. Anything else you guys want to mention, bring up, shout out before we wrap up this episode and the anniversary of This is Learning? First anniversary of This is Learning, I should say.
Any more to come?
Yes, any more to come. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Lars and Santosh, for inviting me to join This is Learning. I know there's been a lot of people like me that have grown their skill sets because of what you two started. So I really appreciate that. Keep it up, and I'm excited to see what the future brings.
Thank you, Lars.
Yeah, and I still want to keep this thing going. Like I wanted to capture the sense, like how I really skilled up. Like I really appreciated all the great free content out there, especially when learning Angular 5 or 6 years ago. Like I learned from great writers, all free articles, and I wanted to make sure there's always more of that coming, like so that anyone can learn for free, no matter where they are in their career or in the world.
Yep, that's the mission, and we're all excited to be a part of it. Okay. Well, we will see everybody next week, right, for our next episode of This is Tech Talks.
Yeah. So we'll be joined by Joshua Goldberg, who wrote the Learning TypeScript book. So very excited to have him. I mean, I have to still schedule the episode, but yeah, just to let you know that we'll be talking about TypeScript.
Nice. That's awesome. Excited for that one for sure. I will let you guys go. I know it's late for you, Santosh. It's sort of late for you, Lars. It is middle of the day for me. I should be at work.
We're in the same time zone now, Santosh and I. So
yeah,
there you go. That's probably a lot easier than me being like 6 or 7 hours behind you guys. Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you next episode for This is Tech Talks.
see you. Bye, everyone.
bye.